I heard there was rumors, people talking that you guys don't want a rehydration clause in the event if the fight does happen. Do you guys not want one?
Give them about that. You can only get so big. You get too big, then that's on him.
Yeah, people want to see that fight, and maybe they see that fight. We don't know yet, right? But maybe they see that fight, and I'm always open to good fights,
Terence Crawford has exposed Canelo Alvarez for demand ING a rehydration clause for their fight Meanwhile Bernie. The boxer team Crawford stated in an interview that Crawford and Canelo's bout is on for September 13th. It hasn't been officially confirmed yet, but Bernie spilled the beans. Crawford is set to jump to 168 pounds to take on Canelo for his trio of super middleweight titles.
To 168, I wouldn't have to lose any weight. I wouldn't have to strain my body. I can just focus on getting stronger and getting sharper and just work on the things that I need to work on to fight a guy of that size.
You're on an 11-fight knockout streak. Is it important to you to continue that, or you just kind of take this fight as it happens?
I just take the fights how it happens. If the knockout come, it come. If it don't, I'm just looking at securing the victory at the end of the day. I never go in a fight looking for the knockout, but if it's there, I'm definitely going to take it.
Prediction on this one?
Like always, a victory.
All right, we'll see how it happens on ESPN Plus pay-per-view. Terence Crawford, Israel Madrimov, Saturday from BMO Stadium here in Los Angeles. Champ, always good to see you. Good luck on Saturday.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Boxing fans were already aware that Crawford and Canelo were set to clash in September, with leaks surfacing weeks ago. However, this marks the first official confirmation from someone within their camps addressing fan criticism that Terence Crawford should first establish himself at 168 before facing Canelo. He dismissed the notion outright, responding simply why he then laid out Crawford's staggering resume too: division undisputed champion, 3-division unified titleist, and a 4-division world champion. However, he notably omitted any mention of the caliber of opponents Crawford conquered to claim those belts fighters largely seen as beatable. It's on baby September 13th. Look forward to it. Crawford versus Canelo. As I said, Crawford versus Canelo. Yeah, it's confirmed Crawford versus Canelo, not the other way around, said Bernie the boxer to Fight Hype about the Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford mega fight being on for September 13th. Team Crawford stands up pound for pound the best in the world, soon to be the super middleweight champion of the world, said Bernie on social media. The majority of fans encouraged the fight rather than heavily criticize it, despite his age, lack of strength, power, and experience at 168. Many people think Crawford can prevail. Many believe Crawford is unbeatable, much like the fervent supporters of David Benovitz. They watched him dominate for so long that the idea of him losing to Canelo seems almost unthinkable, but a closer look at his 17-year career tells a different story. His success isn't just about skill, it's also about the level of competition he's faced, and frankly, he hasn't been tested by elite opposition. When Crawford stepped up to 154 pounds against Israel Madrimov last August, he delivered a lackluster performance far from his usual sharpness. Though he secured a unanimous decision victory, the fight was tighter than expected, with judges scoring at 15,113,100 and 16,112 and 115,113. For those who know Brian BAC McIntyre, well, there's little doubt about the fight truly occupying his thoughts, though not yet official. Speculation is mounting that his star pupil Terence Crawford could clash with Canelo Alvarez as early as September. As anticipated, this historic showdown has ignited a storm of speculation and rumors at the heart of the debate. One topic continues to dominate conversation: the rehydration clause. Essentially, a rehydration clause is a rule that says you can't be much heavier. When we fight, you have to stay close to what you weigh in at. Today, the concerns likely arise from the stark weight disparity between Crawford and Alvarez. Before stepping up to 154 pounds, the southpaw from Nebraska competed nearly 3 divisions below Alvarez. Yet in true Baumax fashion, he brushed off the notion without a second thought. Ricky Filati of Ring Magazine recently recounted a conversation with BC during a meeting at a gym in Las Vegas. Soon, Fall FAI mentioned hearing rumors about the team's stance on a rehydration clause, asking if They opposed having won in the event the fight materialized. In response, McIntyre clarified that he was indifferent to how much weight an opponent might gain after the weigh-in. He expressed that if an opponent overdid it becoming sluggish or hindered by their own size, it would be their issue, not his or Crawford's. He emphasized that it wasn't a concern for him, stating it was entirely on the opponent if their size became disadvantaged.
So do you like Terrence? You like Terrence's chances even without a?
I mean, I love Terrence's chances. When it first came out of his mouth, he said he wanted to fight me.
And yeah, you guys have zero issues with.
I have no issue with it.
No issues.
Terrence ain't got an issue with it. I ain't got an issue.
The reporter continued to probe, questioning whether BAC still believed Crawford could secure victory without any rehydration limit. Without hesitation, BAC reaffirmed his unwavering faith in Crawford, insisting that weight restrictions wouldn't alter the outcome. Esfalati expressed some doubts, pointing out that in the past, fighters facing larger opponents often prioritized having a rehydration clause. In response, Brian McIntyre dismissed the idea as nonsense. He argued that the concept of a rehydration clause was utterly absurd, criticizing the notion of limiting how much weight a fighter could gain after the weigh-in. From McIntyre, once the weigh-in is complete, it should be up to the fighter to manage their weight however they choose. He emphasized that fighters should simply step into the ring and fight like true competitors, especially since they agreed to the bout.
Because, in the past, most guys, when they're fighting bigger guys like that, that's going to be the first thing that they want.
That's some pussy shit. That's some weak shit. Oh, you can't come in this much and shit. Oh, man, get the fuck out of here. It's fine. You got on the scale, I made the weight, regardless when I come back, ass. Hey, you accepted the fight, let's get in there and fight like me. Simple as that.
Appreciate you, Bomac. Thanks for the time, man.
The confusion likely started after the Ryan Garcia versus Javon Davis bout, where the term rehydration clause entered the spotlight. Now it's essential to clarify the issue and ensure better communication moving forward to avoid any more misunderstandings. To provide some background, Mike, Cena recently emphasized that official contracts have not yet been signed. Nevertheless, there's a solid chance that Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford might square off over the Mexican Independence Day weekend in September, assuming all details are finalized. And as Crawford said all along, it would take place at 168 pounds with no rehydration clause, said ESPN's Boxing Insider. For boxing enthusiasts, this showdown pits two of today's elite fighters against each other in a high-stakes clash to decide who truly deserves the title of the sport's best pound-for-pound contender. Crawford is likely to move up from light middleweight to super middleweight for a highly anticipated clash with the Mexican that is shaping up to be one of the biggest spectacles of 2025. In an interview with IFL TV, Hearn admitted that Crawford was at a significant disadvantage in what would be a showdown of two generations of greats. Hearn said it's a massive spectacle. Crawford's coming up really 3 weight classes. He's just come up 1 weight class, or he's even come up 3 weight classes before that. I think that he's physically disadvantaged in the fight, but he's a brilliant pound-for-pound fighter. It's too generational. Greats fighting each other. Another major topic leading up to this fight will be the rehydration clause. Hearn disclosed that Alvarez would have passed on this opportunity if that particular clause had been in place. Hearn only said Canelo would never do it. In response to the question of why Crawford hasn't negotiated a rehydration provision, Terence Crawford has consistently embraced the philosophy that boxing should be a relentless an evolving challenge, whether it's adapting to a bulkier physique or conquering 2 weight classes. He explains that this is the reason he's created the chance to rise through 2 additional weight classes and face off against fellow 4-division champion Saul Canelo Alvarez, with the fight set to be confirmed for September after attending his gym buddy Steven Nelson's main event weigh-in for Saturday night's fight against Alvarez's WBO #1 ranked opponent Diego Pacho. Crawford told Boxing Scene in an exclusive interview Friday at the Cosmopolitan. That's what great fighters are all about, testing yourself against all the odds. Crawford, with an impressive 41-0 record, made a victorious leap from his reign as the undisputed welterweight champion.
Take the fights how it happens. If the knockout come, it come. If it don't, I'm just looking at securing the victory at the end of the day. I never go in a fight looking for the knockout, but if it's there, I'm definitely going to take it.
Prediction on this one?
Like always, a victory.
All right, we'll see how it happens on ESPN Plus pay-per-view. Terence Crawford, Israel Madrimov, Saturday from BMO Stadium here in Los Angeles. Champ, always good to see you. Good luck on Saturday.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Saudi power player Turki Alik has poured significant resources into honoring his respect and admiration for Crawford, elevating him to the top billing for Al Sheikh's inaugural event in August despite some tension with Alvarez. Al Sheikh has worked tirelessly to push this highly anticipated showdown toward reality. Crawford said, "I'm definitely grateful for what Turkey has done in the sport of boxing, making all the biggest fights happen, making all of these fan-friendly fights. He's a big fan himself, so he's putting forth so much into making the fights that everyone wants to see by putting the money behind it. I'm very happy with how things are headed and excited about where everything going in 2023. Canelo Alvarez made headlines with his statement. If you see his record, he just beat one good fighter. Every Terence Crawford fan was taken aback by the unified super middleweights declaration that he would not be participating in the fight. A year and a half has passed, and now we're on the edge of our seats waiting for the showdown between the two to come to fruition as talks between their teams heat up. Old remarks are being reignited just a few days ago when a clip from a 2023 interview resurfaced. Terence Crawford's sister didn't take kindly to Canelo's insinuations. They all sing the same song, remarked Letitia Crawford on X. However, the Guadalajara native clarified his previous position and acknowledged the potential for a conflict in an interview with the Ring magazine. During an interview with Mike Coppinger for Ring magazine, the ESPN journalist inquired about Canelo's views on a potential fight with Crawford and his opinions on Bud. The interviewer acknowledged that regardless of the outcome, should the unified champion beat Terence Crawford, many critics would likely root the defeat to the weight difference between the two fighters. Canelo, however, seems unfazed by the criticisms. In his view, they've only fueled the excitement surrounding the fight, making fans even more eager to watch. Canelo Alvarez acknowledged the public's desire for the fight, hinting that it might happen, saying that fans maybe would get to see it. The 34-year-old went on to discuss the potential of the matchup, taking a moment to praise Terence Crawford. Alvarez described Crawford as a skilled fighter with exceptional abilities. While he admitted the fight could take place, he remained uncertain, stating, "We might witness that battle perhaps. We don't know yet," and acknowledged the possibility of an intense showdown if it materializes.
Don't get me wrong, he's a good fighter. He's really good abilities and everything. And maybe we will see that fight. Maybe, we don't know yet.
Canelo, look, something you said to me a while ago really resonated. You said basically, if somebody's going to disrespect me, I don't want to punish them in the ring and beat them up and say, hey, here's all this money, because everyone always makes their career high payday facing you, right?
Yeah.
The 622 fighter also opened up on why he would prefer to take on Terence Crawford over David Benovitz in the same conversation. Canelo Alvarez explained that he declined the challenge due to the disrespect he felt from Benovitz and his father. He believed that agreeing to the fight under those circumstances would have meant giving the 28-year-old the biggest payday of his career, win or lose a gesture. He wasn't willing to make. Canelo Alvarez explained that at this stage in his career he is willing to fight anyone, including all the top champions. However, he expressed his displeasure with the way certain fighters approach him. When calling him out, he stated that such challenges do not warrant financial rewards, emphasizing that he is now in a position where he can make his own decisions. Canelo added that he simply didn't appreciate the manner in which Bud had approached him about setting up the unified super middleweight champion. Hasn't completely ruled out the fight despite the disrespect. But like I say, you never know too. Maybe someday I wake up and I say, I wanted this. That guy admitted the 34-year-old at this stage. Of showdown between them seems improbable, as Benovitz is gearing up to take on David Morrell and intends to remain at 175 pounds in the meantime. Let's hope Canelo and Crawford can strike a deal, giving fans a much-anticipated fight this year. Canelo Alvarez seems to be aware of the commotion his year-old statement has caused, but he doesn't seem to care. He has stated repeatedly that he wants to battle the greatest boxers, and he can do whatever he wants. According to ESPN's Mike Coppinger, a highly anticipated showdown between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford is reportedly nearing completion. Bob Arum admits he wouldn't rule out Terence Crawford pulling off a major upset when he faces Canelo Alvarez. Bob Arum, who had been behind several of Crawford's fights until their split in 2021, believes the Omaha native skill in switching stances could Present challenges for the Mexican, even with the weight difference that forces a 37-year-old to move up 2 weight divisions, Aram told Fight Hype. I wouldn't count Crawford out in any fight, because Crawford has a unique talent. He's a great boxer puncher, and he is totally ambidextrous. So he drives his opponent crazy because the opponent trains to fight a right-handed fighter and ends up fighting a southpaw. Meanwhile, Crawford achieved the feat of becoming a 4-weight world champion, claiming the WBA super welterweight title with a points victory over Israel Madria. It's still uncertain if Canelo, a 4-division world champion, will step into the ring on his traditional Cinco de Mayo date. This May 1 potential opponent is IBF champion William Skull. Should Canelo choose to fight before facing Crawford, a win in that bout would secure Canelo's return to the undisputed super middleweight champion status. The
likelihood of a fight with you and Terence Crawford, it would be one of the biggest in boxing.
We don't talking about yet about the fight. Me and Turkanash know each other, and then we wanna see what happens.
And when do you want to get out next? I know you're here in London tonight. When are you going to be in a camp?
Huh?
When are you going to be in a camp? I know you're
In
here.
camp? Training camp in March.
Okay, so when
At the beginning of the middle of the February or March. Yeah.